you? So, my name is Ophir. I'm an English teacher. I teach English in Kfar Yona in Derech School. I teach the fourth and the third grades. I teach them English, and I really love to teach English. So, our lesson today is King Arthur. Have you ever heard about King Arthur? What do you think it is? So, let's start. I'm going to ask you some questions. Can you talk, read, and write about more than one thing? Can you talk, read, and write about where things are? There is the table. There is the chair. Can you read a story in English? And can you answer questions in English? I know you can. So, let's begin our lesson. What will we do today? We are going to do so many cool things. We will learn new words. We will practice the words we learned, of course. We will read a story in English, and we will answer questions in English. So, what do you need to prepare for the class? You need a pencil and you need a notebook. You have 30 seconds to collect these items, and I'll see you then. Hi, welcome back. So, did you bring your pencil and your notebook? Great. So, something different before we begin. Look at the two pictures. What word describes both of the pictures? What word can we say about the first picture and the second? Think. This word is king, of course. This is a king when we play chess, and this is the king of the jungle, the lion. So, of course, our lesson is King Arthur. So, I have a question for you. We have one dog, two dogs. We have one hat, two hats. We have one man, two. If we would say two mans, I would write it. But no, we don't say two mans. One man, two or more men. One man, two men. If it's one man, we write it with A, M-A-N. And if there are more than one, so two or more, maybe 3, 4, 10, 100 men with E, M-E-N. So here you can see 4 men. One man, 4 men. Short sound, short. So, icebreaker. I have something to give you to think about. If I say these sentences, once upon a time, on a gray, rainy day, a long time ago. What kind of text begins with sentences like this? What text do we read that begins with once upon a time? How do we call this text? This is a story, of course. That's right. These sentences are usually the open line of a story. You know many stories like Snow White and King of the Jungle, Lion King. So, a story is an imaginary plot, something that doesn't really happen, something that we imagine. Our story today is called King Arthur. Of course, it's something that cannot be real, it's something that we imagine. Have you ever heard about this story, about King Arthur? So, before we starting to read the story, I want to ask you, what do we already know? What do we know before we begin the lesson? So, we know how to read a story, and we know what a king is. King with a crown. So, let's begin. Before we start reading, we need to learn some important words that can help us understand the story better. And we need to know these words because they are really, really, really important words. You need to know them in 4th grade. So, we are going to learn about object, physical things we can touch, about adjective like big, small, tall, how we describe something, and about prepositions. In, this is in my hand. On, this is on my hand, and under, this is under my hand. We are going to start with objects, physical things we can touch. So, the first object is a sword, and the second object is a stone. It's really heavy, a stone. So we have a sword and a stone. So, we talked about object, things we can touch. Now let's talk about, that's right, adjectives like big and small, how we describe. So, we have tall, we have the opposite of tall, short. If this man is tall, so this man is short. We have fat, and we have thin. Fat, and the opposite, thin. So let's repeat all of this. Repeat after me. Tall, short, fat, thin. Tall, short, fat, and thin. Those are adjectives. We describe people with these adjectives. And so we learned about object, sword, a sword and a stone. We learned about adjective, tall, short, fat, thin. And now let's learn about, that's right, prepositions. Preposition, what a strange word. So I can say that under preposition I have in, on, under. So the first preposition I want to talk about is in front of. You can see that the cat is in front of the box, and this is in front of me. In front of. The second one is behind. Look, this board is behind me, and the cat is behind the box. Behind. The third one is under. Look, the marker is under the remote. Under. This is under. Under. So, in front of, behind, and under. Repeat after me. In front of, behind, under. That's right. You're so great. I really love to teach you. So, practice time. Look at the picture and write a sentence describing what you see. Can you see this woman? How does she look? Is she tall, short, fat, thin? I see a woman, or there is a woman on, under. Where is the woman? So you can say the fat woman is on the sofa, on, or there is a woman on the sofa, or I see a woman on the sofa. You can say fat woman, you can say just woman, and she's on the sofa, on. So, now after we practiced with the fat woman, you have 3 other sentences. You need to complete it all by yourself. So, 1. The man is the sofa. What man is it? How does he look? Is he tall, short, fat? So you have a word below. The pink words should be first and the blue words should be after. The man is under or in front of or behind. You need to choose according to what you see. The man is the sofa. Number 2. The man. How does he look? Short, fat. Is the sofa? And 3. The woman is the sofa. How does she look and where she is? Is she under the sofa, on, in front of, behind? You need to choose. You have 2 minutes to complete all the sentences. Go, go, go. Hi, welcome back. So, I know that you did an amazing job. Let's have a look how you should write it. So, you should write the tall man is behind the sofa. The short man is in front of the sofa. And the thin woman is under the sofa. You can see that she is under the sofa. So now let's read. We are going to read a whole story. Stay with me and try to read yourself. So, King Arthur, Britain, a long time ago. There are lots of men in London. There are fat men and thin men. There are tall men and short men. But there isn't a king. Britain needs a king. The men in London are not friends. They are fighting. They are not happy. All the men in London want to be king. I can be a king, I'm old. No, you can't be a king. I can be a king, I'm clever. No, you can't be a king. I can be a king, I'm strong. No, you can't be a king. I can be a king, I'm young. No, you can't be a king. I can be a king. I'm brave. Merlin is a very old man. He wants to help the man in London. He wants to help the man to find a new king. Merlin talks to the man. The fat man, the thin man, the tall man, and the short man. They listen to Merlin. They think that Merlin is very clever, like he is smart. Stop! Do not fight, Merlin says. I can help you. But Merlin, we need a king. You can see that the men in London really need a king. A man and his two boys listen too. The boys' names are Kay and Arthur. Look at this big stone. There is a magic sword in the stone. The man that can take the sword out of the stone can be a king. So only if you pull the sword out of the stone, you are the king. I can do it. The fat man pulls and pulls the sword, but he cannot pull it out. I can do it. The thin man pulls and pulls the magic sword, but he cannot pull it out. I can do it. The tall man pulls and pulls the magic sword, but he cannot pull it out. I can do it. The short man pulls and pulls the magic sword, but he cannot pull it out. One day, Kay cannot find his sword. Arthur wants to help Kay. Arthur looks for the sword. He looks behind the trees, but he cannot see it. He looks in front of the trees, but he cannot see it. He looks under the trees, but he cannot see it. Then Arthur sees a magic sword in the stones. He pulls and pulls the magic sword, and the sword comes out of the stone. Arthur is really nervous. But I'm just a boy. I cannot be a king. Arthur gives the magic sword to his brother. I must not tell Kay that this is the magic sword, Arthur thinks to himself. And then Kay goes to his father. Look, father, here is my sword. Arthur is a good brother. He helped me find it. But that's the magic sword, says the father. Put it back in the stone. And Kay says, you must ask Arthur to put it back. So Arthur puts the sword back in the stone. Father says, I am brave. I am strong too. I can pull the magic sword out of the stone. I can be the king. So the father wants to be the king himself, not his son Arthur. Father pulls and pulls the sword, but he cannot pull it out of the stone. Father says, Kay, it's your turn. I am brave. I am strong too. I can pull the magic sword out of the stone. I will be the king, says Kay. Kay pulls and pulls the magic stone, but he cannot pull it out of the stone. Arthur, it's your turn, says father. But I'm not brave and I'm not strong. I'm just a boy, says Arthur. Arthur doesn't want to be a king. Arthur pulls and pulls. He pulls the magic sword out of the stone. The men are happy. Arthur is the new king of England. Arthur, you're the new king. You are King Arthur. Hooray, hooray, Arthur is the new king of England, says one man. The men are really happy. Now they have a king. So, it was such a fascinating story, and I'm really happy that Arthur is the king. He doesn't want to be a king. That's why he will be a good king. He will think of the people and not of himself. So, Arthur is such a brave young man. I really love this story. Now, let's practice what we read. Choose the correct answer. Where is the magic sword? In the trees? In the stone? In the castle? The answer is, of course, in the stone. Who is the tall man? The tall man. Choose the right picture. Of course, this is the tall man. Who is the thin man? Thin. Did you choose? Do you know the answer? Of course. The third man is the thin man. And who is the fat man? Of course, we have only one option. This is the fat man. Great! So, who pulls the sword out of the stones? Who is the only one who could pull it out? The answer is, of course, Arthur. King Arthur. Who wants to be a king? Father wants to be a king. Kay also wants to be a king, but father is the one who really wanted that Arthur won't be a king. So, now you have a small part of the text, the first part of the text, and you have 3 questions. 1, when, in what time, what period did the story happen? 2, where are the men? In what place? And 3, what do they want? What is the thing that they want so much? You have all the answers in the text. Take 3 minutes and find the 3 answers. I know you can. Go, go, go. Hi, welcome back. So, did you manage to answer the questions? Did you find the answers in the text? Let's see. If you did it, I'm really proud of you. And if you're not done, I'm proud of you still because you tried. So good job, everyone. So the answers are: when did the story happen? In what time? A long time ago. Where are the men? In what place? In London, Britain. You can see Britain and London. Those are places. And what do they want? What do the men in London want? They want a king, of course. They really need a king. So, what did we learn today? We learned so much. First, we learned about singular and plural nouns. Singular is one, like one dog. Plural is more than one, 2 dogs. It can be 5 dogs, and it can be 1,000 dogs, more than one. We learned how story begins. That a story can begin with the sentence "a long time ago," "in a gray rainy day," and all sorts of sentences. We learned new words like sword and stone, and we learned how to answer questions, to search them in the text and write it in the right place. So, personal response. Now, after we talked about singular nouns and more than one plural, I want you to draw a picture of your bedroom. Look at your bedroom. Look what you have. You might have a chair, a bed, table, desk. Maybe you have colors, many colors. Not just one, many colors. Maybe you have, look what you can have. Maybe you have flowers in your room. You can have different things. So, right? What do you have? Only one? And what do you have more than one? So, look. Singular is one thing, like a chair, and plural is 2 or more, like pencils. Like I have here 4 pencils, 2 or more pencils. And in a sentence, I say, there is a chair. If it's one thing, I say, there is a chair, there is a color marker, there is a whatever you have, pencil. One thing, we say there is. If this is 2 or more, we say there are. Look, there are 3 markers. There are, because this is more than one. There are. There are, let's say, there are 10 fingers. There are, because this is more than one. 2 or more, there are. one thing there is. So write in the table, like you see in front of you, a chair, 3 posters, a bed, 10 books, singular, one thing, and plural, more than one thing, and then write it in a sentence. Look, you need to write sentences like this. Look, it's a lot, but I know you can. I know you can. So, in my bedroom, there is a, write at least 2 things you have, and there are there is only one thing, for example, a chair, and there are more than one thing. For example, 10 notebooks, 10 books, 3 pencils. So this is only one thing, and here more than one. Take 5 minutes, it's a lot of time, I know you can do it, and try to write these sentences. If you can do it, good for you. And if you think you can't, at least try and see how it goes. So, 5 minutes and I see you then. Hi, welcome back. So, I think that you did a really good job. Let's have a look how we can write it in a sentence. So, as we said, there is means one thing. For example, there is, and before one thing, if this is only one thing, we write a. There is a phone. There is a phone in my bedroom. And there are, look, I don't write a because those are many things. I know that it doesn't look like pencils, but this is the best I can. There are 3 pencils. So do you see? There is if this is only one, and there are if this is 2 or more. So we had such a good time together. We learned about prepositions, adjectives, objects, and now let's see what we know. Now I can talk, read, and write about more than one thing. Great! Now I can talk, read, and write about where things are, like the board is behind me, the remote is in front of me. I can read a story in English, and I can answer questions in English. Isn't it great? So, I had a really good time with you, and I hope you learned a lot. So, have a great time, and I'll see you in the next lesson.